With us today is John Ellen Mollenhauer. John is a nutrition and lifestyle coach with endorsements from leading doctors and wellness experts. John is the founder and president of Nutrient Rich Life. John, welcome. Thanks so much for being here today.
Great to be here with you, Dr. Mary.
John, can you give our viewers an overview of Nutrient Rich?
Yeah, sure. You know, Nutrient Rich is the new trend in eating. It's really as old as the hills, but it's incredibly exciting today because today we can see nutrition, in the right light. And that is, we've got to be eating foods that are rich in nutrients, don't provide any significant amount of those substances that we don't need from food. And when we eat these foods in as close to their natural state as possible, we get an incredible health effect. And I'm really excited about being able to be one of the leaders in this high nutrient density eating style. And nutrient rich really has become the two-word buzz term for what it means to eat healthy.
And we know your site is popular. That's nutrientrich.com. And tell us, who are your greatest fans?
Our greatest fans are really success-oriented people, really on two levels. One, that person who has really tried it all. Now, I know that's a pretty common phrase amongst people in the diet business. You've tried everything else, and then, you finally found it. Well, here you finally have actually found it. It's the needle in the haystack, because there is nothing beyond nutrient-rich. A food is either nutrient-rich or nutrient-poor, and nutrient-rich is a lot better. So, we've really been defining that, and the people who are attracted to us are people who realize that they've been stuck in either junk food diets or the standard American diet or a weight loss only diet, or what we like to refer to with a lot of fun, a half-baked, healthier diet, which is kind of healthier but not really healthy. And it's people who finally have said, you know what, I get it. I finally get it. I'm going to start eating nutrient rich, and I'm going to start eating those foods that are, as I said earlier, rich in nutrients, don't provide what my body doesn't need, and when I eat them in their natural state, really do my body well. And also those people who are success oriented. These are people who like to optimize their lifestyle. These are people who like to live at the second tier or at the next level. And are looking for the healthiest and most successful way to eat, and that's nutrient rich.
John, and you brought up there's so many fad diets on the market. Is it true that none of them work?
No, all diets work. Every diet works. It just depends on what set of results you want. You heard me mention earlier the term weight loss only. There are thousands of weight loss only diets out there, but they're not necessarily healthy. They may be positioned as a weight loss only diet or a weight loss diet, but most weight loss diets are about eating less. They're about lowering and manipulating the macronutrients like protein, carbohydrates, and fat. They're about some sort of trick or some sort of idea that will manipulate or induce weight loss. And the truth is that unless you're healthy, you can't sustain, or unless you're eating healthy, you can't even sustain a natural weight anyway. So they work, but for a short period of time. And then, to give credit to some of these other diets, there are other diets that go beyond weight loss, but really do not have a comprehensive lifestyle-based set of outcomes. And in eating nutrient-rich, we talk about the 7 success results. And these are not just our 7 success results, these are the 7 success results. When a person eats a nutrient-rich, healthy eating style, or what we call a superfood eating style, in effect, they detoxify their body and nourish it simultaneously. They then experience a natural weight loss process because detoxification naturally results in weight loss. Okay, so you're both detoxifying, nourishing, and establishing a natural weight loss process, which inevitably is going to promote health. And if you're promoting health, you're naturally going to reverse disease. Now, if you have all those things going for you, you're going to age slower, you're going to look younger, and you're going to live longer. And those are the 7 success results any of us could possibly want from eating. And when you eat nutrient-rich, it delivers.
So it really sounds like nutrient-rich is different.
Well, nutrient rich is the new two-word gross term for what it means to actually eat healthy and what a healthy food actually is. Now, there are a lot of different definitions of nutrient rich. We like to think that we were on the forefront of really defining what a nutrient rich food actually is. There are some people out there who, and some organizations that are taking old nutrient poor styles of eating and nutrient poor foods and trying to define them as nutrient rich, but they're not really. But as I said before, all diets work. It just depends on what kind of health and success outcomes you're looking for. And we're looking for a comprehensive health effect that stands the test of time. And if you want everything from detoxification to nourishment to natural weight loss being the key, a health promotion, disease reversal, slower aging, a younger look, and a longer life, that's when you eat nutrient rich. Everything else is a diet. This is an eating standard. It's a quality standard for how you eat in your life.
John, tell us a few words about what you mean by natural weight loss.
Well, natural weight loss, there's two approaches to weight loss, I should say. One's natural and one is induced, okay? Natural is when you meet the body's nutrient needs with foods that do not toxify your body, but naturally detoxify your body because they're micronutrient rich, meaning they're high in vitamins and minerals and the thousands of phytochemicals, which are the largest nutrient load in any food, in a plant food, okay? They literally dwarf vitamins and minerals. And when you take these foods in, they naturally nourish and support your immune system. They nourish your body and support your immune system, which eliminates all the waste from your body, okay? Mm-hmm. And when you do that, your body stabilizes. And when you stabilize, then you eat appropriate amounts of calories because you're no longer driven to eat because of withdrawal from junky foods, okay, or because you ate foods that had lots of calories in them but didn't have any nutrients, meaning the micronutrients. Mm-hmm. And the micronutrients are really the key to a stable, healthy eating style. So when we talk about natural weight loss, when you are actually meeting your body's nutrient needs and you're not overwhelming it with calories that are nutrient poor, you will naturally eat closer to your actual food requirements every day. When you combine that with a healthy, or what we call a performance lifestyle, when you combine that with an overall lifestyle that supports you, your body will naturally gravitate towards its natural weight, and you no longer have to induce weight loss. It's natural.
Wonderful. John, your website talks about a 3-step process. Can you guide our viewers through those steps?
Yes, it's called Add, Change, Challenge. And nutrient-rich eating, we also nicknamed superfood eating. Okay, there's this whole community out there called superfoodies who really, enjoy the world's best and healthiest foods. They're not really interested. They like structure. In other words, they like to eat to live, but they also live to eat. They just enjoy eating, and they seek out the world's best and healthiest foods. And we noticed this. By the same token, nutrient-rich is more of a lifestyle concept. Again, it's not a dieting concept. It's a lifestyle concept. And we were working for years trying to figure out a way that would put this concept into context for people. And we really backed up and saw what 3 stages most people naturally go through when they're looking to make a dietary change and ultimately transform the way they eat. Mm-hmm. And the first thing they do is they begin to adding these nutrient-rich superfoods into their life. The leafy greens, the green vegetables, the fruits, the raw nuts, seeds, whole grains, beans, legumes, right? When you start to add these foods, and some of the more exotic ones that you find around the world, into the way you currently eat, okay? These foods are so powerful, as I said earlier, they nutrify and detoxify your body. And these are the only foods in the market, okay, available to us that will actually nutrify and detoxify, because plants are the only foods that have micronutrients, and they're the only foods that have the detoxification power. Now, when you start adding these to the way you currently eat, you will naturally change the way you eat, because you start to feel better, and your body starts to clean out, and it gravitates you towards eating more plant-based, nutrient-rich foods. And then at some point, you make this wholehearted decision to say, hey, wait a second. I'm not just going to add superfoods to the way I eat. I'm actually going to change what and actually how I eat. And that's the second stage. Now you're in this position where you want to make a wholehearted decision to change. And then eventually, you start getting such a feel-good response. You start gravitating towards your natural weight. You're naturally eating less, not because you're dieting, but just because your nutrient needs are finally met and you're enjoying the way you eat. What'll end up happening is you'll begin to challenge and you'll get yourself up to 90% or more. And all long-lived populations eat 90% or more plant-based, nutrient-rich. In other words, 90% of the foods that they eat come from plants, and what they do is they optimize their nutrition. And when you optimize your nutrition, not only in terms of what you eat, but how you eat, and you get it up to that 90% level, you're in the top 1% of the world in terms of potential health and life outcomes. And that's what Add Change Challenge is all about. The first thing we want to do is get you started eating superfoods, get you into that position where you want to make a wholehearted change, not because you're going on a diet, but just because you're enjoying and loving the way you eat, and then eventually challenge yourself to get to 90% or more. If you want to go 100% plant-based, that's great, and we support and promote that. But we want to get everybody to at least 90% or more plant-based, nutrient-rich, and that's the challenge. Add Change Challenge.
That's fantastic, John. And you mentioned some of the benefits, and let's spotlight them a little bit for our listeners.
Well, would you like success outcomes or benefits?
Well, let's start with benefits, then we'll move to success outcomes.
Great. Well, benefits, there's a big distinction between benefits and success outcomes. Benefits are like cost, convenience, great taste, knowing that you don't have to go to the doctor, knowing that you're not going to have to, constantly have allergies for your children, and that and that we as an adult are not going to be distracted, by literally having to lose weight. Weight loss and having to lose weight is really a distraction, in my opinion. Some people spend their whole lives really having to focus on weight loss and just wrapping their head around a successful way to eat. And in my opinion, that's not what we want in life, okay? I've always been the first person to say that, eating is part of a lifestyle, and the purpose of our lifestyle is to achieve our goals. So if we can't get out of the gate because we're stuck on food, that's a big problem. So I want to help people literally eliminate that challenge, that hidden lifestyle challenge in their life. So some of the key benefits of eating nutrient-rich is that it can be very simple, very quick, and very easy. The most basic way to eat nutrient-rich really requires no recipes, no food prep, and no cooking at all. And that natural way of eating is just amazing. And then you can ratchet it up a couple levels, and you can take it to the point where you're eating simple, quick, and easy meals with only 5 ingredients or less. Sometimes 1 ingredient, then it goes to 5 ingredients, and then you can eat gourmet. But the beauty here is that you're no longer you maintaining health insurance because you have imminent headaches and colds and flus and all these other challenges which gravitate to heart disease and diabetes and cancer in later lives. And healthcare is no longer seen as something that, it's no longer seen as other than what it is. It's just disease management in most cases. And now you're actually eating in a way that promotes health. And that's the biggest benefit of all. You can also learn how to eat this way, on a very low budget, or you can take it to the nines. So there's just so many benefits, it's just amazing.
So John, is it safe to say that nutrient-rich is an essential component of real health reform in this country?
Oh my God. Eating nutrient-rich is so fundamental to real health reform. I don't have words big enough really to describe the extent to which it is essential. All right, it's as fundamental as it could possibly get. We eat 3 to 5 times per day, and if we're eating 3 to 5 times per day of nutrient-poor food that we absolutely, positively, beyond a shadow of the doubt, know is promoting a toxified, undernourished, overfed, weight promoting, health deteriorating, disease accelerating, age accelerating, shorter life, okay? Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, we know those foods are doing it. So if you're eating 3 to 5 times per day of nutrient-poor foods, you're almost guaranteed those health outcomes. So if you really want to reform your health, you make the switch from eating nutrient-barren and nutrient-poor to eating 90% or more nutrient-rich.
That's so significant, John. And the truth is, they say we are a junk food nation. And the question is, what is that process by which the light bulb goes on for people when they finally realize that everything they've been doing is promoting disease? What is that process by which that light bulb goes on?
Well, I think it's a little bit cliche to say that we get sick and tired of being sick and tired, but there's a reason why it's cliche, because it's such a great statement.
It is.
We get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we wake up, and I think we're in a time period today where people are waking up on more ways than one, in more ways than one. And we're starting to realize that we're all caught up in a system. It's a commercial economic system. I alluded to it earlier, actually a little bit more than alluded, by saying that the diet industry is broken down into 5 parts. And all you have to do is figure out what part you're stuck in. And that's when the light bulb really goes on to making the switch to eating more plant-based, nutrient-rich. And I'll repeat it. You are either eating, despite the 10,000 different diets out there, all commercial. You ready? You're either eating a junk food diet, and then the junk food eater says, I'm going to eat a little bit better. So what they end up getting caught up in is the standard American diet, which is up to 90% nutrient poor. Okay, it's probably 25 to 50% animal products, about 40% refined foods, and less than 10%. And if you take out French fries and ketchup, it would be literally 5% or less produce. All right, and produce is where nutrient-rich foods are found. So you move from junk food to the standard American diet. You're basically eating whatever, whenever, and then you realize, my God, I'm gaining weight. I'm getting unhealthy. This is like horrible. My cholesterol's through the roof, and my weight's going up, and I'm on pills, powders, and all kinds of potions to deal with the symptoms. And then you're like, oh, your doctor says, what? You got to lose weight. Okay, so then what do? Then the next segment of the market's all ready to pick you up. The low carb world, the paleo world, the low cal world, the low fat world. I mean, some people even think starving themselves and eating less. They'll go on Pepsi. Pepsi marketed itself as a weight loss product. Diet Pepsi and Diet Coke. So now you live in this weight loss only world for God knows how long, and people chase their tail over and over and round until they finally realize, what, I'm finally going to eat healthier. But here's the key word, healthier. And the reality is that healthier is the next segment of the industry picks you up. And it's now this alternative health, alternatively packaged. Everything's now got, flowers and green leaves on it. And you start seeing things like gluten-free and no sugar added and organic and everything else. And I really applaud, frankly, people who are trying to help people lose weight. And I really applaud people who are trying to help people eat healthier. The problem is now you're eating just a healthier version of the standard American diet. So in effect, what ends up happening is you go right back to getting caught in a really detrimental loop. And now you're eating foods that are really high in salt and sugar. I was just at a natural products conference, in the last 2 weeks, and I'm so amazed at all the healthier foods that are coming out. It's just amazed. But here's the thing. I could not begin to tell you how much oil and salt was in the food.
Wow.
And something you probably know, Mary, is that when you start eating healthy, the worst thing you could be doing is putting salt in your body. Because as the body is transitioning and it's beginning to change and it's eliminating all of the plaque in its arteries, if you're speeding your blood pressure up at the exact same time, I mean, you could have, as Dr. Furman, one of my mentors said, you could have a hemorrhagic stroke. And it only takes a little piece to load your brain up with those really small capillaries in there with something that blocks the blood flow to your brain and causes internal bleeding. So, eventually you get to this point where you're like, oh my God, I'm caught up in an industrial system that's working hand, in hand, in hand, in hand. Junk food to the sad standard American diet, to weight loss only dieting, to half-baked healthier eating, and then you finally say, you know what? Well, what does it mean to even eat healthy?
Exactly. And
you realize that there's only 3 ways to eat in the entire universe, at least that we know of, right? You're either eating nutrient-rich, nutrient-poor, or nutrient-barren, okay? And foods that are nutrient-rich have all the nutrients that your body needs to succeed, to function and perform well and stay healthy. Nutrient-poor foods are foods that are rich in some nutrients, okay? Chicken's a great example. It's rich in some nutrients, but as a whole food, it's nutrient-poor because it's got lots of protein, but it's missing carbohydrate and vitamins. It's only a small amount of vitamins and minerals. It's got no water. It's got no carbohydrate. It's got no phytochemicals. And as I mentioned earlier, that's the largest load of nutrients in a health-promoting food is its micronutrient content. So it's rich in some nutrients, but as a whole food, it's nutrient poor. And then, there's nutrient-barren foods, which nobody really debates. That's junk food, okay? So when we talk about making the switch to rich, when people when the light really goes on for people, they realize, oh my God, I've been stuck in this for 25 or more years. I've been stuck from one diet to the next diet to the next diet to the next diet, which is why people are saying, if you've tried it all, because none of these diets actually will promote all 7 of those success results we talked about earlier. None of these diets, only a nutrient-rich, healthy, or superfood eating style will actually deliver on all 7 of those success results. And that's when the light bulb goes on.
So how does nutrient-rich help the person who's just getting started, the person that's really listening to what you're saying, say, I gotta do something different, but I really don't know where to begin?
Well, that gets back to the add, change, challenge philosophy. I think the idea of simply starting to add superfoods into the way you eat is the number one thing you can do. Okay? Because too many diets are overly structured. Okay? They're overly structured. Nobody can stick to them. I mean, I used to be a bodybuilder years ago, and the only reason why I was able to stick to what was a low carb, extremely unhealthy diet back then was because I was going to be on a stage with a little skimpy, pair of, bathing suit like piece of clothing on my body in front of 100 people, and I had so much leverage on myself, and I was 21 years old, right? So that was the only way I was ever able to stick to a diet, and that was 24 years ago. I've never been able to stick to a diet.
Right.
That mentality never works because it's limited. It's in most cases overly structured. It really keeps people chasing their tail for many years. And the minute you're even thinking, I can't eat this, even before the discussion of food even comes up, you're already dieting in your mind. And people do not like to be limited. So, I mean, this we know. So we have a philosophy in eating nutrient-rich is you can eat whatever you want. I mean, I would never violate that principle because that's not a nutritional principle. It's a psychological principle. Okay? You have to know that at any given point in time, you can eat whatever you want. The caveat is you can't eat whatever, whenever, and get the results you want. So when people are free, they gravitate towards those foods, even with the backdrop that they can eat whatever they want. They gravitate towards those foods that are the most nutrient-rich, and they just simply start to add them to the way they currently eat. And that, I think, is the key to getting successfully started, because you're not yet in that position where you're wholehearted yet. Okay, most people, unless you're really suffering from a disease and you really need to reverse it now, and it's either change or die. Okay, those people have a similar level to motivation that I had earlier when I was stepping on stage. But most people don't have that level of motivation. Okay, they're just trying to lose a few pounds or just try to get a little healthier, and they need to know that they can get started right where they are right now and just start adding these foods into the way they eat, and then let the foods work for you. When you start doing that, then you will begin to change and go into the rest of that process. But now it becomes exciting, because you're no longer giving stuff up, you're focusing on what can I add into my life. and you start adding superfoods to the way you currently eat, and then it's a process, it's a natural process that takes over from there.
And John, how about our listeners that are well on their way? They're ready to embrace on the challenge, like you talk about the 90%. What does Nutrient Rich have to offer these viewers?
I'm so glad you asked this question, Dr. Mary, because some people are ready right now. Like, they're ready to roll.
They are.
And what you do there is you make that wholehearted decision today, right now, and you just decide, I'm going to change what and how I'm eating. I'm going to learn the principles of eating nutrient rich. I'm going to learn the practices, and I'm going to develop an eating strategy that's ready for me right now. And we support that. Matter of fact, we have a whole premium support center for people that's extremely low cost, because we want everybody to learn how to eat nutrient rich. And then if you're already eating nutrient rich, okay, well, it's time to optimize your nutrition. It's time to take it to 90% or more. And again, we say 90% or more, not because we're promoting. That's 90% or more plant-based, nutrient-rich, 10% or less of animal products and refined foods. And I want to say very clear to all of our listeners that we are not promoting the consumption of animal products and refined foods. In other words, we are not saying that 90% of what you eat should come from plants and 10% should come from animal products and refined foods. We're just acknowledging that it's not a perfect world, and that some people do a little bit better eating a small amount of animal product, okay? And like, I was at a party, it was my birthday just this past week. Someone gave me a carrot cake that was, it sounds healthy because it's carrot, right? But of course it was cream cheese and icing and everything else. I mean, what am I going to do? Give my nutritional dissertation? Oh no, I don't eat nutrient-poor food. I don't eat nutrient-rich. No, I had a piece of cake, right? So, you have a discretionary fund for those times when you can't eat ideally. But the one thing we're not is we're not idealists. And what we want to do is we want to really challenge people to optimize the way they eat. I got to tell you, when you solve all food issues, like you literally solve all food issues, you can move on to bigger and better things and start tackling the issues like you are, Dr. Mary, with literally reforming healthcare. I mean, who needs a distraction of having to constantly lose weight and get healthy when you can be out there doing big things in the world? And that's what I love.
And maybe that's the take-home message for our viewers, is there's so much more to life than focusing on food, but we need to really infuse the body with those nutrients as a habit every single day.
Well, that point, that's the central point of this whole conversation, okay? No aspect, and I want to be very clear, I mean, everybody hear this, like, get out your mental highlighter, okay? Right. No aspect of your lifestyle is a goal. No aspect of your lifestyle is a goal. Not sleeping, not exercising, not eating better, not eating nutrient rich, not restructuring your life, nothing. No aspect of it is a goal. You improve your lifestyle so that you can achieve your goals. And goals are like life, business, and sport. It's getting married, it's having children, it's raising those children, it's being able to get them into college, it's starting a business. It's going out there and creating a for-profit enterprise or a non-profit enterprise or competing in a sport. This is what our lives should be about. Mm-hmm. It's not about, like, I teach performance lifestyle, and when I teach a performance lifestyle, I get people to understand that when they understand that no aspect of their lifestyle is a goal, and that their real goals are what's going on in their lives, their business, and their sport, they're like, oh my God, how quickly can I learn how to eat healthy, right? And the hallmark of a performance lifestyle is that you don't make more out of things than they need to be. Yeah. And man, we are making this food thing so crazy complicated. It's unbelievable. Yes. And when we all pretty much know right now that we need to eat a high nutrient density, a nutrient dense, or what's become the two-word buzz term, a nutrient-rich, healthy eating style. Uh-huh. And now it becomes exciting. Now making these changes becomes exciting. It's no longer about, oh my God, the drag. Oh, I gotta go on a diet. It's no longer about any of that stuff.
John, this is so powerful. Now, before we close, please tell our viewers about how they can participate in Nutrient Rich and tap into this premium membership that you mentioned earlier.
Well, it's real simple. We have set up, they can come to nutrientrich.com they can subscribe to our list, which is
Okay.
really we give them a free download called "Wow, I thought I was eating healthy," because that's usually where the conversation starts.
Okay.
Most people already think they're eating healthy, and then when they realize they're eating nutrient poor, that's when they start getting in the process. And then you can start adding some of the superfoods that we make you aware of. You can just start adding them into your life, and if you're ready to, and of course we start educating you. Okay, we start literally, we have all kinds of premium posts, and on our email list we start dripping on you. Okay, and then what happens is, as soon as you're ready, I recommend you just get a membership to nutrientrich.com. It's literally $1 a month. We charge you $12 for the year. And some people might say, well, shoot, that's really cheap, John. That's because we want you in the process. We believe everyone should be getting this information. The world cannot wait for someone to save $1,000 to go get information on how to eat healthy, okay? We're charging you $1 a month. That's $12 a year for you to start learning how to eat nutrient-rich, more plant-based nutrient-rich right now. And then once you're in the process and part of the community, a community we call the super foodie community, which is kind of fun, right? And you can start to challenge yourself, but you just go through that natural process. Come to the site, read the document. Wow, I thought I was eating healthy, and then it'll naturally take you through the process.
John, this is so powerful. For $1 a month to have this transformational impact on your own life and making the world a better place. It truly sounds like a win-win to me.
It's a win-win. I mean, I've got world-class people out there just who created video recipes, and it really just shows you everything. It just gets you right in. And for nothing else, it's an awesome starter to making a huge change in your lifestyle. Because when anybody changes their lifestyle, the first thing they do is they change the way they eat. That thing they do 3 to 5 times per day. And interestingly, food is the #1 coping mechanism for stress.
Wow.
Okay, so it's the #1 coping mechanism for stress. So the minute you change the way you eat, it will instantly open up the door to the rest of your lifestyle. Because once you learn how to eat nutrient-rich, you'll run into a bunch of other hidden lifestyle challenges, and you have to solve those. And now, once you solve and get your whole lifestyle working for you, you're no longer stuck in this vicious cycle of not only eating nutrient poor, but all the excuses that keep you stuck in a low-level way of eating. We want to literally help you take your lifestyle to the next level.
John, that is so awesome. So again, for our viewers, the website is www.nutrientrich.com.
That's it.
nutrientrich.com. And John, I want to thank you so much. This is such exciting news. It gives me a lot of encouragement. This really is fundamental for real health reform in this country and transformational for people in our country. So,
and Dr. Mary, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for having me on, because the work you're doing, the fact that you're tuned in to these fundamentals of lifestyle in the process of also being out there, lobbying the whole legislative side of this, and the whole the whole idea of real health reform is really just amazing. And I think when the more people tap into what you're saying, the more they're going to understand that it's not about just going on another drug. I mean, wow, thank you. Our politicians are giving us generic drugs now.
Exactly.
This is awesome. When you actually get into real health reform, and you're no longer stuck in a medical system that is really just managing your disease, it's just amazing, and I am with you every step of the way.
I want to thank you, John. John Allen Mollenhauer, founder, president of Nutrient Rich Life. That's www.nutrientrich.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mary.